Hi everyone. In July of 2018, some of my hypnosis clients, while in hypnosis, began to channel. Now, 15 months later, there are 13 of these channelers, and this podcast features one of them. Now, you may not know what channeling is, but it's been around for a very long time. One of the more famous examples is the Oracle at Delphi, in what we call ancient Greece. In more modern times, among others, we have Esther Hicks channeling Abraham, Barbara Marciniak channeling the Palladians, and Darryl Anka channeling Bashar. These channelers all have websites, and all of them are featured many times on YouTube. So if you're not sure what channeling is, check out these sources, and they'll give you a pretty fair idea. Now today, my guest is Colleen Bradley, and she channels Apatite, who is named after the popular phosphate mineral of that same name. After I ask Colleen a couple of questions about herself, she'll then go into the altered state of consciousness where she can connect with Apatite, and I will then direct some questions to her. Colleen, welcome to the podcast.
Peter, happy to be here.
Good. Colleen, I'm sure our listeners would like to know a little about you. Could you give us a little background, what you do for a living, where you grew up, that sort of thing?
Sure. My name is Colleen Bradley. I grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Border town. Just across the bridge was the USA, Michigan. So a big influence there growing up. And I moved to Toronto when I was 19 and worked at a variety of jobs. But in the last 35 years, I've worked in the not-for-profit sector. I'm a consultant for charities, helping them raise money.
Very good. Now, recently you've become a channeler.
I have.
Yeah. Has that changed your life at all?
Yes, it has. The biggest change has been that I feel much more grounded and centered, relaxed, and it's a very strange sensation, but really feeling much more centered in who I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you've come from a background that's, I guess, fairly traditional. You don't strike me as one of those New Agers who's burning incense all the time and sitting cross-legged and such.
Nope, worked in the banking industry, worked in the charitable sector. I would say that I have a very traditional outlook. However, I'm open to new things. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what made it easy to channel, I believe. But I was looking for health relief coming to you, looking to ease my body stress and pain. So that's how I came to come and have some hypnosis with you.
Yeah. Well, you channel a being who goes by the name of Apatite, which is really the name assigned to a mineral, or a crystal.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And our first channel, when you asked her what her name was, she didn't have a name. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, Colleen has been looking at crystal books. And I never looked at crystal books. I really hadn't before I'd come here. And was looking at this crystal book because I thought crystals were interesting. And she, and these were her words, plucked that name out of my mind because she thought it was amusing. And it was, as the word appetite, to be able to enjoy and nourish. And also that it's a crystal that has some psychic properties assigned to it. So I thought that was very interesting and shows her bit of humor.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, now is probably a good time to meet her. So we're going to just take a couple of minutes, and you go into trance, and we'll have her come through. Hello, Apatite. Nice to be with you again. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Peter. We are pleased to be here with you today.
Good. I don't know if listeners can detect this or not, but when you speak through Colleen, your speech pattern to me seems just a little different, and I hope our listeners can maybe discern a bit of difference between you when you're speaking and Colleen when she is. But to start things off, I was wondering if you would just inform our listeners a little about yourself, where you're from, what life is like for you, and why you're here.
Thank you, Peter. We are a collective, many hundreds of us. We are a form of light and love. We have joined together to bring a message of love, light, and peace into the world, the planet that you reside on. Our mission is one of critical importance at this time in your evolution. That is why there is many of us, you see, because it is a critical mission in this space and time. I just want to let you know that I am the spokesperson for the collective. We named my form as Apatite to give you a label to be able to speak with us. I am the spokesperson. I was chosen because I am more gentle and still direct, but more gentle. My colleagues do not know the ways of the human as I have had the experience in channeling. I consult, that is a good word to use with my colleagues when I am channeling.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that this is a critical time for humans. What is it that's critical?
Your very existence is critical because the planet is, as anyone who listens to your news and who travels around the earth, in even a small amount, will see that your planet is not doing well. Pollutants, the very air you breathe, the plants and animals you eat have been poisoned. So that is very crucial. Just your home is not in good state of repair. Not only that, you've compounded the problem, you see, with your greed, lying, disregard for others, selfishness. I suppose that is a good word. That link to your humanity seems to be weakening. And it is so important to have links to one another because you are all one. It is fractured. It is severely fractured. And so our mission is to bring realization of where you are in your evolution, and so you can mend and repair and to reconnect with each other and the species that you share the planet with.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that there's quite a few of you, and I'm wondering, how do you intend to get that message out? I imagine one way is through Colleen, but there must be other ways as well.
Yes, we have mentioned in previous channelings through Colleen that our job is not to give you all the answers, you see. It is to, we like this metaphor greatly, not to give you the whole loaf of bread, but to give you the breadcrumbs. So we are constantly sending out breadcrumbs of hope, light, love, messages, not just through Colleen, but the other people we channel through, it's not even channeling, Peter. It is having the knowing, instilling that knowing into the populace. So not only do we channel, but send messages of love and hope through people who aren't channeling, but they are open to messages of love and light, kindness, gentleness, listening before speaking, empathy. These are ways that you can deepen your relationship to Earth and to those around you.
Mm-hmm. We do have a bit of a time constraint here, but I was wondering if you have a singular piece of advice for humans at this time, what would it be?
The biggest thing to do is relax. You are in a state of anxiety, high tension, fear. And so how do you lower that anxiety, tension, and fear, not only that is worldwide, but in your own bodies, in your own minds, in your own auras? Everything around you is tense. So it is the following: walk in nature, breathe deeply, slow down, speak to your family, understand what they are going through. It is not just your story that is crucial. It is the story of all those around you. And if you can spread love and light, calmness and gentleness, even to one person in a day, you have done well, and we are pleased and rejoicing.
And I guess in that example, you'd be doing well for that person as well as yourself.
It is a circle, you see. So what you give out, you receive back. It is one of the laws. So what you give back, you get right back. It is energy flowing. When you are stuck, energy is stuck, and it is hard for you as humans to feel unstuck. So you get more and more into your story of this isn't going well and that isn't going well. It is a life that you are living is duality. So if you can spread love and light, the darkness diminishes. Even for minutes, moments, that darkness has been diminished in that person and in your own being.
Well, Apatite, there's many more questions that we would have for you, but unfortunately our time has run out. But I know that you're going to be working through Colleen and others, and there will be videos and audios and things of that nature. We look forward to them, and thank you very much for being with us here today.
It is our pleasure. Thank you, Peter. And I wish to say one more thing.
Please.
That it is beautiful for us to have this podcast out into the world on a day that the human race, well, not everyone, Canadians, but gives thanks. So that is what we are speaking of, giving thanks, being in gratitude. And I and my collective, all of us are rejoicing that we have been able to speak to a broader audience today. We are grateful. Thank you.
Well, so are we, and thank you very much. Colleen, welcome back. Colleen, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can reach me through my email, which is pgsolutions@rogers.com. So that's P like Peter and G like George, solutions@rogers.com. Or my telephone number is 416-999-6406. Don't have a website yet.
Good. Well, thank you for that, and thank you very much for being on the podcast.
My pleasure.
Well, folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back for some more. You can download and or listen to this podcast or any of the other 36 or so by going to my website at peterhdennis.com. Once there, click on the podcast tab, scroll down to section number 2, and there you can click on Colleen's name or photo and listen or download from there. A final point. I've recently started a Facebook group entitled The Channeling Connection. It's a group for channelers, for those curious about channeling, and for those who may want to become a channeler. Check it out. Join if you'd like, ask a question, or if you have an opinion, contribute to the discussion. Bye for now.